여야 합의하에 조속히 대통령 직선제 개헌을 하고 새 헌법에 의한 대통령 선거를 통해서 88년 2월 평화적인 정부양을 실현하도록 해야 하겠습니다.
June 7th, 1987, Sunday. Gwangju Province. Eunshim, a 49-year-old housewife, bid her 22-year-old son, Hanyeol, farewell as he went back to university in Seoul after spending a weekend at home. She wanted her son to come home right after summer vacation. She didn't say it out loud, but she had smelled tear gas on her son's clothes, so she was worried that he might get hurt while engaging in violent protests against the government. Hanyeol assured his mother by saying that he would take the first train to Gwangju as soon as vacation started, and she was relieved. Hanyeol smiled and waved his confident hands. That was the last she saw of her son. June 8th, 1987, Monday. Eunshim woke up at 7 a.m. The first thing that popped into her mind was her son. She had two daughters and 3 sons, but Hanyeol was the oldest child, also the brightest, most lovable, and the only one who had lived away from home, so all she thought of was Hanyeol. She wanted to call Hanyeol, but in order to reach her son, she had to call the landlady of the boarding house her son stayed and ask to speak to her son. Her husband told her not to make the call. They had seen Hanyeol just yesterday, and he would come home to stay for summer vacation in just in a few weeks, and it was costly, so there was no need to call him this early in the morning. She resented, but reluctantly accepted to not call, and got back to household work. In compensation for not being able to call her son, she cooked her son's favorite side dish, eggplant and soy sauce, in order to serve for him when he came back home. (1987) June 9th, Tuesday, 6 p.m. Eunshim was having dinner with her husband. She received a call from Seoul. With an urgent tone, one of her son's professors had called to tell her that her son was seriously injured during a protest against the government. Their tear gas jab by the police had hit the back of his head. His left occipital bone was seriously injured, and he was suffering from cerebral contusion, and he was still unconscious. She was shocked, more than shocked. She could not fully comprehend the situation, and the only thing that she was able to understand was that her loving, precious son was in grave danger. Hands trembling with fear, she took the fastest bus to Seoul and arrived at the hospital where her son was. It was 1 in the morning. "27 days passed. July 5th, 1987. Due to cardiopulmonary malfunctions, many complications, and severe brain damage, Hanyeol had finally died. While she stayed next to her unconscious son for days, many people, friends, professors, political activists, congressmen, mayors, visited to mourn. They all said that Hanyeol's death had roused anger in citizens, and under his name millions of people gathered. He had become a symbolic figure of the movement against the authoritarian government. They often referred to him as a patriotic martyr. But imagine how she would have felt listening to all of this. Just imagine being a mother, having a beautiful son, so smart, so proud of him, and then imagine him dying all of a sudden. Would you be able to focus on the socio-political meaning of your son's death? She was not interested in how the world was going around. She was not curious what other people thought of her son's death. She had not opened the curtains for 27 days and had not seen the newspaper for the same period. She was merely sad, so warm. It became time for his funeral. She wanted to bury her son by the mountain next to her house, where she could visit occasionally and place flowers by the grave. But friends, professors, political activists, congressmen, mayors came again to argue that for symbolic purpose his body should be burned at Seoul in front of his university as a national funeral. She could not understand why everyone was making such a fuss about her son's death. There was a clash in opinions, but eventually other opinions gave in to a strong mother's love, and it was decided that he be buried near his hometown. But as people wanted to see the funeral of Hanyeol, they planned a send-off ceremony. July 9th, 1987. The word had spread, and many people had gathered for the send-off ceremony. Starting from Yonsei University, where Hanyeol had died, to City Hall, thousands, millions of people filled all the streets, all the space around City Hall. These people were holding huge pictures of Hanyeol, carrying pickets with Hanyeol's face, all chanting his name. Millions of people mourned his death. Eunshim, Hanyeol's mother, saw this many people for the first time in her life, and they were all gathered for her son's death. She felt something that she had never felt before in her life. Her son's death was not merely a private death of an individual, but a death with meaning for all the members of society. She realized that these people and her son shared the same vision and the same dream for a democratic society where unfair deaths like this never occurred, and where there was no authoritarian government that violently suppressed mass rallies. And here she saw that her son, just like the millions of people gathered, had a dream, wanted the society to change, and died in that process. She was not able to take her eyes off the crowd, and she felt like they were all her sons. She vowed, and the sadness she had been in for days turned for firm will. She would do what her son died doing, and would not let the death of her son go in vain. She had changed. Since then, patriotic martyr Hanyeol's mother, Eunshim, now chair of the Committee of Bereaved Families for Democracy, has engaged in more than 1,000 protests for democracy and the rights of the weak. She has engaged in 422 days of protests in front of the Congress for the enactment of the Truth Commission activity on suspicious death law. Incessantly, she is fighting for the very values her son had died for.